It's a new year and a new chance for you to make a fresh start with your compliance. For it, we're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. What is the best single-author handbook for a best practices compliance program? I would humbly submit to you that it is the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition, by myself, Tom Fox. It's published by LexisNexis, and it's designed to give you information on how to improve your compliance program literally across an entire year. Each entry has 3 key takeaways of things you can do at little or no cost for your compliance program. I'm going to link to it in the show notes, so check out the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition. Day 30, the Foreign Extortion Prevention Act. We had a new piece of legislation in 2023, which the compliance community has long recognized as needed for the gaping hole in the FCPA. As a supply-side law, the FCPA criminalizes the payment of bribes, not the demand to pay a bribe or even extortion. This gap was filled in 2023 by the Foreign Extortion Prevention Act, or FEPA, which extended crucial protections to Americans working abroad and provides the DOJ with a potent new tool. By criminalizing both the giving and demanding of foreign bribes, FEPA seeks to level the playing field for American workers while fostering ethical business practices globally. FEPA represents a promising solution to protect American workers overseas, promote fair business competition, and combat corruption on a global scale. With its potential to bring meaningful change, FEPA is a vital step in safeguarding American values and interests in the international arena. One commentator has noted, FEPA is a landmark bipartisan law that holds the potential to help root out foreign corruption at its source. It is arguably the most sweeping and consequential foreign bribery law in nearly half a century. The legislation fills a significant gap in anti-corruption measures and raises important questions about its implications for the enforcement of the FCPA and cooperation expected from companies involved in bribery schemes. FEPA addresses this long-standing concern. The FCPA has been effective in penalizing U.S. companies for offering bribes to foreign officials, but there has been a lack of legal mechanism to hold foreign government officials accountable for accepting or even demanding those bribes. FEPA now provides prosecutors with a means to pursue such officials. One of the key aspects of FEPA is that it criminalizes the solicitation and acceptance of bribes by foreign officials from U.S. entities. This complements the FCPA, which focuses on the offering of bribes by U.S. companies. By targeting both sides of the bribery equation, FEPA aims to create a more comprehensive and effective framework for combating corruption. However, the implementation of FEPA is not without its challenges. One of the main challenges is the extradition of foreign officials for prosecution, particularly from countries like Russia and China. Extradition processes can be complex and time-consuming, and cooperation from foreign governments may not always be forthcoming. This poses a significant hurdle in holding foreign officials accountable under FEPA. Another notable feature of FEPA is the name and shame list. This is a list intended to publicly identify and shame government officials involved in bribery schemes. While this may serve as a deterrent, it could also have unintended consequences. For instance, it may impact Transparency International's corruption perception indices, potentially affecting the rankings of countries and their relations with the United States. Additionally, it could have implications for companies operating in those countries, potentially straining foreign relations. The passage of FEPA raises important considerations for the compliance professional and compliance functions. They need to assess how this new law may impact their existing internal controls going forward. Also, the arrival of FEPA as a tool to combat corruption is undoubtedly a positive development, but it's crucial to evaluate the potential implications for FCPA prosecutions and cooperation expected from companies involved in bribery cases. Compliance officers should also consider the potential changes in the calculus for prosecutors. With FEPA in place, prosecutors may now have the legal means to pursue foreign government officials explicit or complicit in bribery schemes. This raises questions to the extent by which companies will be required to cooperate with the Department of Justice in providing testimony and potentially cooperating in the prosecution of foreign officials, impacting the resolution of FCPA cases, but also impacting how they're thought of in those countries. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, FEPA changes the game for anti-bribery, anti-corruption. Number 2, make sure your policies and procedures capture any extortion attempts made illegal under FEPA. And number 3, you need to consider how FEPA is going to play out in real time and have a response plan ready if this happens, particularly if you find yourself under an FCPA investigation. Hope you will join me tomorrow for our final day of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, where we take up using a root cause analysis. I know you'll enjoy tomorrow's episode. I hope you will join me for the rest of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, where we take a deep dive into your overall compliance program. Thank you for listening to this episode of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. If you'd like more information on any of the topics of this month's series, 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, check out the Compliance Handbook 5th edition, available from LexisNexis. You can check it out at lexisnexis.com/Fox. I know you will find it useful and enjoy it. Thanks so much for listening.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.